Hey, how you guys doing? Happy Monday. Welcome back to Livin La Vida Keto podcast. I'm your host, Keto Master Chef Jose, and alongside me is my wife and life partner, Jeanette.
Hey, hey.
How you doing, baby?
I'm doing fantastic.
Happy to be here?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
We're so happy to be here with you guys. We're live on Top Class Radio with Livin La Vida Keto podcast. And if you don't know us, we're a keto master chef couple. We help people get healthy, combat diseases like diabetes, hypertension, and metabolic syndrome through healthy diet. So if you're new to our channel, please show us some love and share this with us. Share this with your friends and family and loved ones because we talk all about health and wellness, and the information that we discuss here on this podcast is aimed to help people combat diseases and live a healthier life so they have
And
more
what
quality.
better way to start your week, right? Talking about health.
That's
And,
right.
You
Listen,
know,
health is wealth.
health is wealth. That's right.
So we've had a fun, intense, crazy week. We just had the Thanksgiving holidays.
Yeah.
Everyone's busy with their Black Friday, Cyber Monday shopping. So it's a crazy time of the year.
Well, it's still going on.
That's right. And
Still
we're,
going
so
on.
we're officially in full holiday. I know some people have had their Christmas tree up since July, but now it's finally okay to put your
Mine is all year round.
now it's finally okay to have your Christmas tree or holiday tree up. We're very excited about this holiday season. And, what we share here is going to be very relevant, especially very soon as January comes and everyone starts focusing
Rushing
more.
to the gym and trying to find
Focus on their health and trying to drop that holiday excess.
Yeah, but we still have to maintain that good health.
That's right. And also, if you missed our Keto Cooking with Love, our live cooking show that we host every week, we just wrapped yesterday on season 2.
That was a wrap.
That was a wrap, like holiday presents. Or as they say in the hood, it was a saran. You can catch that right here on Top Class Radio. Go to the on demand or the tab, or press the shows tab, and you can check out all of our previous episodes that we did this year. We did some fun stuff.
We did.
We made rack of lamb yesterday. We made alcapurrias
We
this
made
year.
the rack of lamb, but don't forget that the greens were the bomb.
You know what's funny? I had someone commented on our YouTube video last week talking about, but there's no cod, and they saw the episode and they noticed that we forgot to add the cod.
Oh, yeah,
to
well,
the
yeah.
cod fritters. So you can see how we make cod
That
fritters.
was fun. That was a laugh.
That's the beauty of
That
being
was
live.
a laugh.
Today we're coming to you with a very important topic, a very big health topic, and that is chronic kidney disease. We're going to discuss with you exactly what is chronic kidney disease, the various stages from a medical standpoint. We're going to talk about some of the symptoms that people that are dealing with this have to deal with, and maybe some of the ways for you to know if perhaps you might have some type of onset of chronic kidney disease.
Experience some
Correct.
pains and things, and
Yep.
we can just like
We're gonna dive
yeah,
into that,
yeah.
and then we're gonna talk about what's the best way, or what's a way that you can holistically, naturally, without being on medications, combat and possibly reverse the effects of chronic kidney disease. So last week I started off the show with a confession where we would discuss carb and sugar addiction. And so this week, my wife doesn't even know this. I want to start the show by talking about this from a slightly different angle and sharing a story with you. So I happen to know people that have chronic kidney disease, but this specific disease had a huge impact on my life because my father had chronic kidney disease. He passed away 21 years ago in the year 2000. I was only 25 years old at the time, so it was a very, traumatizing time for me.
yeah, you was just starting your adolescent life,
adulthood.
Yeah, adulthood. Yes.
But also, he dealt with this disease for about 7 years or more, probably. He was on dialysis for about 7 years, and so I definitely got to see firsthand how this can affect an individual, a family, loved ones, and everyone around you. So this is a topic that's very, near and dear to my heart. And I say that to say because, if you know someone who is, dealing with chronic kidney disease or something like that, you definitely want to share the information that we're talking about today. Like I said, my father was on dialysis for 7 years, and basically dialysis is when they filter your blood because that's normally the function of the kidney. And
Kidneys.
when you have a kidney failure or kidney disease, the kidney struggles, or it's impacted in its ability to filter things out of your blood system and fluids and whatnot. So dialysis is one of the ways that people that are dealing with chronic kidney disease traditionally are able to extend their life. But even though it lets you extend your life, it still doesn't improve your health. It's just kind of like a management. It's estimated that many people that have chronic kidney disease will usually about the age of 60 go on some type of dialysis. But when people on the average age of 60 go on dialysis, the life expectancy is about 4 to 5 years. There are some people who live as many as 20 years being on dialysis, but those are outliers. It's not
Wow.
the norm. The average life expectancy of someone who has chronic kidney disease is on average 5 years. So
And just you telling me this because I don't know, you just mentioned that, but I knew that, there were certain issues, health issues that he had. The extent of it or the details of it, I wasn't aware of them.
yes.
So yeah, it's probably, something that you felt it was like hurting, because you lost your father to this, but at an early age as well, because he was only
Yeah.
59.
He was only 59 years old, and like obviously losing him was traumatizing in its own right. But even during those 7 years, for me, I was a teenager, and I struggled with a lot of things because my father was like my hero. He was the strongest person that I knew,
Of course.
and seeing how this kind of like took his will, took his strength, how it affected him, it definitely took a toll on us as a family. And so yeah, so today we're gonna tackle this subject,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna start off talking about exactly what is chronic kidney disease. So chronic kidney disease is the function of the kidney. There you have two kidneys. They're about the size of a fist, and they're right below your spine on either side. And their function is to filter all of your bodily fluids and your blood. So your kidneys will filter protein and glucose and all these different things from your blood, put them back into your body to be used as energy, and then it will get rid of the waste, excess water. This is how you get urine, number two, all of that fun stuff.
You mean
Because
poop?
yeah, so that's basically the job of the kidneys. So there's 5 stages of chronic kidney disease, and it's weird the way that they classify these stages from a medical standpoint, because stage 1 really should be called stage 0. Stage 1 is when you have completely full kidney function and you don't have any type of disease or problem. So everyone who has a healthy kidney, properly functioning kidney, is technically in stage
Stage
one.
one.
And then there's a rate. So basically, to get a little bit more technical, you have all these micro tubes and fibers inside of the kidney. And when your kidney becomes impacted, these tubes and vessels are not able to filter the way that they normally filter. There's a test that they do, and they basically rate it on different scales. So if you're in stage 1, which basically means you have a healthy liver, that means that your kidney is able to filter about 90 milliliters of fluid per hour. So a 90 or above, it's a healthy kidney. That's stage 1. Then when you get to stage 2, it's still mostly a healthy kidney, but now it's slightly impacted, and it's time for you to have a little bit of awareness of where your health is going, and that's when you're able to filter between 60 to 90 milliliters of liquid per hour. All right. So, stage 1, healthy liver, a healthy kidney, you're good. Stage 2, this is when you need to start becoming aware of your diet, of your overall health, because now your kidney is slightly compromised. Okay. So stage 3 is when you are filtering less than 60 milliliters per hour. Okay. Somewhere between 30 to 60 per hour. And this is actually now officially chronic kidney disease. So,
So in between those stages, right? What would be the indications that you're in those stages?
great question, baby. So, when you get tested, the test that they usually do is when they test your proteins in your urine, they'll test for albumin, which is a protein in your urine. And basically, what happens is that when your kidney is functioning properly, it would filter out proteins from your fluids and then put it back into your bloodstream to either be used as energy or to make tissue. Now, because your kidneys are failing, this protein, this albumin, doesn't get put back into the bloodstream, and instead you pee it out, you secrete it. So once they test and you have this albumin, this protein in your urine, this is the indication. And technically, medically speaking, you have to have albumin in your urine for 3 months or longer to be officially diagnosed
So you can be
as
detected
stage
at
3.
stage,
Okay, so if this happens 1 month or 2 months, you might be in that stage 2. But once they run urine tests and it determines that you have this albumin protein being excreted rather than being repurposed and put back into your bloodstream to be either used for energy or to make tissue of any kind. So for 3 months or more, that's when you're technically at stage 3. Okay. Then stage 4, stage 5, again, is going to be a higher progression of the chronic kidney disease. And that's when things start to get, more dangerous, when you probably have to be on dialysis, perhaps some medications, which ironically, those medications kind of, it's a rabbit hole because those medications wind up impacting
other organs
and your kidneys.
Yeah.
They, even more. So those are the various stages of chronic kidney disease. And yeah, so I know there's something I know I'm forgetting to mention. It's gonna come to me.
It's gonna come to you. I think I distracted you with that question. I do apologize.
Okay. I know that we were talking before the show about stones.
Yes.
And you had a question.
I had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kidney stones. People that have kidney stones. I do know people that occasionally have kidney stones, and they might get rid of them. It might be an easy transaction, right? And some may not be so easy. So is that also in the chronic kidney disease category?
Yeah, so kidney stones and kidney disease or failure are two different things, okay? Kidney stones are caused when the most common is like a calcium buildup.
Yeah.
And it's usually caused when you have like thick liquids coming into the kidneys, and the kidneys not able to filter these properly, and they wind up calcifying and becoming literally like little stones in your kidneys, which then you have to pass.
But it's still painful.
It's extremely painful, but it's not the same as a chronic kidney disease. Now I know what I'm saying. Thank you, my love.
Yeah, of course.
But
That's what we're here for.
Kidney stones are usually, in most cases, a precursor to chronic kidney disease. So it's two separate different things, and they're caused a little bit different.
But it's still like an alert.
But it's still, it could lead you down, if not corrected properly, it could lead you towards kidney disease. So what I wanted to say is that there are several causes for chronic kidney disease, but the main causes in most cases is A, diabetes, and B, hypertension or high blood pressure. So there are some hereditary causes where people might have some polycystic syndromes through and they might be more susceptible to it. And there are some other factors that could lead to it, chemicals that may be found in cigarettes or other products, processed foods that can lead to it. But the main culprits in a preponderance of the cases that cause kidney disease or failure is diabetes and hypertension.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't watched our previous episodes, our first 2 episodes were covering these topics. because this is something that's affecting a lot of people. Now, it's estimated that approximately as of 2021, it's estimated that 37 million people, adults in America, have chronic kidney disease. And for you to understand what that is, that's 1 in 7 adults, okay, is estimated to have chronic kidney disease. That's a lot.
That is.
All right. Other factors that can attribute to it is age, it can be cultural background, obviously diet, stress. There's different things because stress would impact your blood pressure, and that can lead to
It all entwines.
it's a vicious cycle.
It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, the reason that we're discussing this is because so many people, not only on a global scale, but just here in good old America, 1 in 7 adults, that's a lot. You know what I
just
mean?
to
Like that's a
think,
lot.
You
Like
have 7 people in the room. One can be,
yeah,
that
and
one.
correct. So and if one of them doesn't, it means 2 out of the next 7.
2 out of the next 7.
Adults are afflicted in some type of way. So again, because these things are caused primarily in most of the cases by diabetes and hypertension, then we know that there's things that can be done to reverse or even prevent this from happening. So we're gonna get into some symptoms, okay, of chronic kidney disease, and because we want to paint the picture of what having this disease looks like, what someone that's living with this disease, what it looks like.
Yeah.
And then also if perhaps you find that you have been experiencing some of these symptoms, you may want to, go see your doctor, get some blood work, get some tests done.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that, that
Just a
you're
medical
in a good
opinion.
state.
And yes,
But
exactly.
if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic, if you're currently, have some type of hypertension or on medications for hypertension or diabetes, then you could be at a high risk. You are at a high risk of developing chronic kidney disease. And as I've witnessed firsthand, this is something that is, not only physically and health-wise debilitating, but also psychologically debilitating for the people that are going through it and for their immediate
because you want to
loved ones.
help and you don't know how to help.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get into 7 symptoms of chronic kidney disease.
Yeah.
And baby, why don't you start off with the first one?
Okay, so the first is leg and back pain. So with that, the most typical sign of chronic kidney disease is lingering pain in the legs and the lower back close to where the kidneys are situated. You'll often feel pain in the side or the affected kidney. The discomfort can be so terrible that it's been compared to labor pain by affected women, and I've heard this before. This pain and pressure is often due to the kidney's inability to excrete excess fluid from your body, which leads to swelling the hands, ankles, legs, feet, and the face.
Exactly. So I witnessed this for many years firsthand with my father, where he would have debilitating pain. And for any woman out there that has given birth, imagine something being compared to labor pains.
Yeah.
You know how excruciating that is. Listen, I love my children, but watching them being born, like I wouldn't wish that on anybody, But with my father, I would witness this often, where he would, have acute, extreme pain in his lower back, and he would just, cringe and fall over in pain. And it's extremely frustrating because, if you have a loved one that's going through this, there is nothing you can do in that moment. Like, there's no way to console them. There's nothing, you know what I mean? It's
Unbearable.
I'm not gonna say that it's worse to watch it than to experience it, but it feels that way.
You're in that pain with
because,
them as well.
you feel that
feel
feeling
that.
of helplessness. And there's there's nothing you can do. I was going through this when I was a teenager. I'm not a doctor now. I wasn't a doctor then, And so I didn't really know, what to do. And my father was someone who was full of life, like full of life, like 24/7. He was energetic, he was
Yeah.
happy, and when he would have these flare-ups, it was I know, it's my belief that for him it was very psychologically defeating because he wasn't his normal self. And on the flip side, it was really cool because whenever you would see him, whenever he didn't have an iota of pain,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
he was the Tasmanian
And
devil.
the irony of it, I was just talking to my girlfriend Olga in the kitchen about how if I would have met him then, how I would have gotten so we would have gotten
You're
so
both Libras.
we we were like I got
Listen,
yes
you're too much
yes
trouble. You're too much trouble.
he would have been the guy I would have been like, let's go party.
Absolutely. No, he would have been telling you. He would have been dragging you. So yeah, extreme lower back pain, to the side of your spine is one of the symptoms that people that have chronic kidney disease have to deal with. And like I said, having seen this firsthand with my own eyes,
That's yeah.
it's very it's not a good thing. So I'll read this one here. So another second major symptom of people dealing with chronic kidney disease is urinary urgency. All right. The kidneys produce urine in order to filter waste out of the body. This means oftentimes when the kidneys are jeopardized, urinary urgency may occur frequently in the middle of the night. And you may notice that you have to urinate more often with increased pressure and in larger quantities. The pressure may be so strong on your bladder that you feel that you can't squeeze out all of the urine when you go to the bathroom, similar to a urinary tract infection. And if the urine contains blood, you should see a doctor immediately. And I remember this vividly because when my father first had his first concern, about something being wrong with his kidneys, is because he was, peeing blood.
Blood.
All
Yeah.
right. So this is a
Yeah.
this is a major symptom that someone that has chronic kidney disease has to deal with. They have frequent urination, longer, voluminous and
Or
time
that feeling that
wise.
there's still more that you have to,
Correct.
release, but there's nothing.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. And usually these kind of symptoms are gonna affect older people, and I don't mean old, okay? I mean older, meaning like 40 plus.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at that 40 plus age, and it doesn't have to be, that's not a hardcore number. There's people who are diabetic as teens, in their early 20s and 30s. There's people who are dealing with high blood pressure, hypertension in their 20s and 30s. But for most people, the onset of that happens in your 40s and 50s after a life of overconsuming carbs and dealing with many different
Yeah.
circumstances. But this is going to be especially true what we're discussing here with people who are 40 plus. Okay, so if you're in your 40s, 50s, and you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night having to use the bathroom, having longer urination, having a higher frequency a urination, this is could be a signal that you're dealing with some type of chronic kidney disease. And if you definitely have been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, then you will know that this is part of what you are going
A
through.
little bit unusual.
All right.
So
we're gonna get into our next symptom.
So this
scroll
one
up.
is fatigue.
Yes.
Healthy kidneys produce adequate amounts of erythropoietin.
Erythropoietin.
Yo, you said that so perfect,
Well,
my love.
I guess.
You should have read this one. A hormone that increases the production of oxygen carrying red blood cells without adequate EPO. Your body and brain will fatigue often as they are receiving less oxygen, and you'll require more sleep than usual. Those with kidney issues will often notice an unexplained decrease in energy, and that's not from physical exertion or dietary reasons. This can clue you into a problem with kidney function, and at that point of kidney failure, a kidney transplant or dialysis
Yes.
may be necessary for life.
Correct.
So I just want to mention that I know that not that I've experienced it fully like you have, but I know that my mother also experienced something like that. Not the kidney disease thing, but she did have the stones, which kind of like all of these, so like make me think, can be a possibility of
Yeah,
her.
with people that have stones, you're gonna have similar kind of similar symptoms, because when you have stones, your kidneys are impacted, their functions are impacted, and the job of the kidney is to filter fluids through your body. To quantify that, your kidneys filter about 200 quarts of liquid in a 24-hour period. All right, that's 50 gallons of liquid. All right, so you usually excrete like 1 to 2 quarts a day, and then the other 198 quarts get reprocessed, repurposed into your bloodstream, for energy, for tissue development, for all of your vital functions. So when your kidneys are compromised and not able to do this, it bleeds into many different types of symptoms. Again, with my father, I experienced this firsthand, where he would have chronic fatigue, and like I said, my father, for me, was the most vivacious, energetic, person that I knew. He was constantly joking, constantly playful, constantly active. Like he couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
Unless
Full
he
of
was
life,
unless he
yes.
was watching boxing. And if you watch him, if you see him watching a boxing fight, he was part of the fight. Like he was extremely
He'd be in
animated. He
motion.
was in there like,
He'd
oh,
be in motion.
So he was extremely animated. And when I would, I saw this, firsthand, where he would just, sit in his chair and just feel extremely fatigued, extremely sleepy, and and it makes me wonder for myself. I never got officially diagnosed myself, but before I started my ketogenic transformation, I was 100 pounds overweight, and I used to deal with chronic fatigue. Like, I was synonymous. My cousin, I remember, he told me, "Hey, you have to go get your blood work drawn. You have to go, check yourself
Yeah.
out," because I would fall asleep while running.
Wow.
Like, I could be doing any type of activity and I would just fall asleep. If if I was a passenger in the vehicle, 3 minutes wouldn't go by before I was sleeping. So we're almost about to take a break
Yeah.
in just a minute. But before we do that, we're going to talk about one more. I'll read this one.
Yeah.
One more symptom that people that are dealing with chronic kidney disease go through. So this is going to be swelling. All right. As kidneys fail, they slow the process of fluid elimination from the body. Therefore, this excess fluid it pulls in your extremities, resulting in swollen legs, hands, ankles, and feet. So much so that often you can't get your shoes or rings on. Okay, this is also known medically as edema. So again, because the kidneys filter out liquids, when their functions are compromised, you wind up retaining a lot of these liquids. And then you have buildups in your joints, which is very painful, in your hands and in your feet. So if you find that your shoes that you used to wear so comfortably every single day, you're having trouble lacing up those shoes or even fitting your feet into them, this can be this can be an
Indication.
a flag, an indication that you might have the onset of chronic kidney disease. And certainly, if you're, definitely diagnosed as having chronic kidney disease, then you will know that this is something that you're dealing with. And my father, one thing that he taught me is, you never buy cheap shoes, And I remember we would go to the Florsheim store, and he loved shoes. He was. I don't want to say the word, but he was a shoe lover.
I already know. I already know. So anyway, we're gonna continue this, and we're
just a
gonna
few
take
minutes.
a few
Yep,
minutes. We're gonna take
exactly.
a short
We're gonna
break.
come right
We'll come
back.
back, and then we're gonna talk how keto can help with all of these.
All right, awesome. We'll be back.
So hey guys, so we're back on Livin La Vida Keto podcast here live. Again, if you have any questions or you want to tune in, just download the free app on Top Class Radio. You can call or you can text your questions.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're here live with you. Happy Monday. And you can call or text with your questions at 609 418-9816. And again, even if you have questions and you don't get to do it during our live transmission, please send your questions. We get everything here at the station, and we will reply to you throughout the
Yeah.
week.
And we're going to discuss also what is the relevance of this and keto. Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to get to the
yeah. So you
point.
want to stick to the end
We're going to
because
stick to the end,
the
please.
money shot is almost is going to
The
be at
slam
the end.
dunk, the slam dunk, baby.
So we've been discussing chronic kidney disease, exactly what it is, and right now we're in the middle of discussing 7 symptoms of someone who is living with chronic kidney disease. So far, we've talked about the first 4, being a leg and back pain,
Yeah.
urinary urgency, frequency of urination, as well as increased pressure in your urine.
Fatigue.
In your urine. Fatigue, right? Sleepiness, and swelling, edema around your joints, hands, feet, even in some cases causing you to struggle to get your shoes on. So now we're going to go into the last 3 symptoms, major symptoms of someone living with chronic kidney disease, baby.
And this one is irritated skin. So irritated skin is such as acne breakouts and itchy rashes occur due to the excess waste floating around in your body. Healthy kidneys will usually eliminate excess fluids, waste, and toxins from the body via the urine. All urine contains the byproducts of metabolism, including and obviously water, salts, and toxins that, if left in the body, end up in the bloodstream. Without healthy, functioning kidneys, waste products and toxins will soon build up and be dangerous levels.
Yes. So for many people, you know that our excretion glands, which is what the kidneys is, helps you get rid of waste in your body. Okay, waste is toxic to your body, and this is the function of the kidney. The function of the kidney is to filter out everything that you need from the fluids and put it back into your bloodstream. For to do your bodily functions, and everything that's waste, whether it's nitrogen or whatever it is, it excretes it in your poop and your urine
Or your bowel movements.
Exactly. Oh, now you want to get classy with it, right? But when your kidneys are compromised and they cannot adequately filter these toxins, rather than them coming out in your bowel movements or your urine, they wind up back in your bloodstream or floating somewhere in your body.
Which is toxic.
Correct.
Yes.
And so this can lead to irritated skin.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometimes someone that has chronic kidney disease will develop weird types of rashes, irritated skin, things that creams are not going to help you with, okay? Because that is caused by excess toxic waste floating around in your body.
And those creams might be just temporary.
They're topical.
Yeah.
They'll give you some type of psychosomatic relief, but they won't really tackle the core of your problem, okay? Another major symptom of chronic kidney disease, and we've been talking about how my father was in dialysis for 7 years. He finally succumbed in the year 2000 to chronic kidney disease and some other comorbidities. But I saw him deal with this a lot, and that was nausea. Okay, toxicity.
And I think that's like worse when you're like
listen. It's not comfortable to experience, and it's not comfortable to watch. Okay,
Yeah.
toxicity, or the increase of waste that can't be eliminated via urination, will often result in a general feeling of nausea, as well as a lack of appetite and weight loss. And specifically on that lack of appetite, that right there, I remember my mom would be making her food for him. And listen, when my father didn't want to eat, you knew something was wrong. Okay? Because this man had his meals on the clock, round the clock. My mom was the best cook, in the history of culinary arts, if you ask me. And so this was like when he didn't want to eat, when my father didn't want to eat, that was a major sign that he was not doing well. And it says here, in severe cases, vomiting will make it difficult to keep food and nourishment down. Any damage to the kidney can cause decreased urination when waste builds build up in the bloodstream and are unable to be eliminated efficiently. So, again, if you find yourself dealing with a nausea and lack of appetite, and the inability to
Yeah.
hold down food, and you're someone who's of an adult 35, 40 plus, perhaps maybe a little bit obese, or dealing with diabetes or hypertension, this right here is a major red flag, as it's one of the biggest symptoms.
And I'm very uncomfortable.
Extremely
Very
uncomfortable.
extremely uncomfortable.
All right.
The next one we're gonna touch
Well, the
is,
last one that we're going to be talking
it's
about as a symptom is
metallic flavor. So when you feel like you have that taste
yes
of
in your
metal
mouth.
in your mouth, patients whose kidneys fail will often describe a metallic taste, also called ammonia breath. Wow, ammonia breath that lingers in the mouth in the weeks and months prior to actual kidney failure. This metallic flavor is due to uremia, excess waste byproducts present in the bloodstream. Doctors use exhaled breath monitor patients for a number of conditions, and kidney failure is one. Exhaled breath contains over 1,000 compounds such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen, water, inert gases, trace components, and oxygens.
That's right. So as our kidneys do their function properly, if your kidneys are functioning properly, the way that it works is that it will filter all of the fluids in your body, and it will take everything that you need and repurpose it back into your bloodstream, and then the excess waste will be excreted through your bowel movement. Okay. But when your kidneys are not functioning properly, this excess waste, or like in this case, trace components, oxygen, gases, different things can make their way out through your urine, or through your breath. Okay, because that's also a form of secretion. So people who have the onset of chronic kidney disease will discuss symptoms where they have like this metallic flavor in their mouth, and that's because certain byproducts are not being properly filtered through your kidneys, and instead they're being pushed out through your breathing and through your breath. All right. So these are the major symptoms of someone who's dealing with chronic kidney disease. They're not the only symptoms,
Right.
but they're the most pronounced, the most I wouldn't say relevant, but the most
The key
documented.
elements, the
Yeah,
keys.
the most documented. So with that, we're going to, well, we can get into those as well. There's a few more. Again, we're gonna mention a few more symptoms. They're not as, like I said, as pronounced and as prevalent, but these can also be part of the chronic kidney disease matrix. All right, so I'm gonna talk about this one right here, and this is anemia. Those with partial to full kidney failures can develop anemia, a deficiency of red blood cells and hemoglobin in the blood at almost any stage of
Chronic
disease.
kidney disease, yes.
And you will experience tired muscles, weakness, and fatigue. So, as we mentioned, the function of the kidneys is to filter bodily fluids and repurpose and then send back to into your bloodstream glucose, minerals, vitamins. All of these things go back into your bloodstream. So if your kidneys are not working, you're not going to get those vital nutrients and amino acids and proteins that you need back into your bloodstream. And this can inevitably cause anemia, which you'll experience, as is mentioned, through tired muscles, weakness, and overall fatigue that we discussed earlier. All right. Why don't you read this one right here, baby?
Confusion. Due to the lack of oxygen carrying red blood cells in the body, individuals suffering from anemia due to kidney failure will often feel confused or become fairly forgetful or fatigued. Yeah.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, these few that we're discussing now are kind of like secondary, less common symptoms. These two specifically anemia and
Yeah.
confusion kind of derive from that fatigue thing what we're saying, and the fatigue is caused by the kidneys not working properly, not filtering your blood and fluids properly, and not getting those vital nutrients and proteins back into the
Right.
bloodstream. All right. Another common
Wow.
symptom would be shortness of breath. Shortness of breath is a symptom that could be caused by a few factors for kidney disease. First, due to the increased amount of fluid buildup in the body, this liquid could potentially build up around the lungs, causing individuals to suffer from shortness of breath due to the pressure and tension surrounding the lungs. So again, because the kidneys are impacted and they're not able to get rid of that excess waste and liquid, some of this liquid can build up around your lungs, causing pressure. So shortness of breath is a indicator if you're someone who's potentially
Yeah, and
diabetic,
if you don't
pre-diabetic.
know these symptoms, then you can get confused with possibly like a stroke,
Well, yes, and
especially that shortness of
inevitably,
breath
if you're
and
dealing with these things,
fatigue.
you could be on your way to potentially having some type of coronary issue, some type of heart
Yeah,
issue, or stroke.
yeah, it's
All right.
dangerous,
We're
dangerous.
gonna mention a couple of more before we get into how you combat and potentially reverse
Reverse,
your
reverse.
your chronic kidney disease. So
We're
you
gonna
want to
do one more,
yes,
right?
baby. Go ahead.
High blood potassium. The kidneys are responsible for balancing potassium through food and fluids by excreting it in the urine. However, if they become damaged or fail, this function is disrupted, leading to elevated levels of potassium in the blood. This condition is medically known as hyperkalemia.
Hyperkalemia.
I love it. Love when you when you correct me, my love. That's right.
Teamwork makes the dream
Yeah,
work,
while
baby.
potassium is essential to the functioning of the nerves and muscles, much of it can lead to a variety of health problems. Hyperkalemia
Kalemia.
can lead to potentially fatal disturbances or irregularities
Irregularities.
in the rhythm of the heart, also commonly referred to as
Arrhythmias.
arrhythmias.
Correct.
Which, yeah, heart arrhythmias. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what this is discussing here, usually when someone has chronic kidney disease, it is believed that this individual should reduce or restrict the amount of potassium that they get. Okay, we talked earlier in the show about the different stages of chronic kidney disease. There's 5 stages. Stage 1, you technically have a fully healthy kidney, and it should be called stage
Stage
0
zero.
because you don't have any type of disease. Stage 2, you still have a mostly well-functioning kidney, but it is starting to become a little bit compromised, and you want to be aware. Stage 3 is the first stage where you officially have what's considered chronic kidney disease. And by definition, chronic kidney disease is when you have some type of kidney failure for 3 months or more, and is diagnosed usually through a few tests where they test your urine and you're excreting albumin, which is a protein. The fact that you're excreting albumin in your urine means that your kidney is not working properly and is not filtering the albumin properly to put it back into your
Back it in,
bloodstream.
yes.
Okay, so in this case here, once people get into having high chronic kidney disease, it's believed that you need to reduce your potassium. Now, that's not entirely true. First of all, if you have stage 4 or stage 5, then yes, you probably need to reduce your potassium. But if you're anywhere between stage 1 and 3, then you technically do not have to reduce your potassium, because you may have to restrict it a little bit, but not reduce it. Potassium is an extremely vital nutrient that all humans need. Technically, we're supposed to be having 4,700 milligrams of potassium per day. Now, if you're someone who practices intermittent fasting, then you can use a little bit less potassium, okay? But humans definitely need potassium.
If you're not in these type of complications,
Yes.
health complications.
Yes. And so as we mentioned, the kidney filters everything in the blood and your liquids and your fluids, bodily fluids. And there's nutrients that you need. You need sodium, you need potassium, you need phosphorus, all of these things you need. So when you become when you're diagnosed as chronic kidney disease, depending on your stage, you don't have to abstain necessarily from these things, but you definitely want to be aware of them, restrict them, and work, hand in hand with your doctor to know what's the best kind of diet. Now, my father, as I said, had an aggressive stage, of chronic kidney disease, and because things like plantains and
Yeah.
bananas
Yeah.
contain potassium, not high amounts, but this is one of the foods that he had to, give up, and it was. It was a very unhappy thing for him. Like his diet predominantly was what we call in the Spanish people, Caribbean Spanish people call vivere, of plantains and green
Well,
bananas.
giving up, of course, what you love, what you enjoy is tough.
Yeah,
But when
and
it has to do with your health, then you have to take those extra measures.
also it's like you grow up, in that culture. They grew up believing that these foods are healthy for them. And then once you get to a point where your health is compromised and now your healthiness relies on eliminating these foods,
And medications.
it's a tough pill to
Yeah.
swallow, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
But so before we wrap up, we definitely want to talk about how you can prevent or reverse chronic kidney disease. So there are some misconceptions out there about how high protein or high fat foods can cause or exacerbate chronic kidney disease, but that in fact is not true. As we mentioned earlier in the show, in the majority of instances, chronic kidney disease is caused by hypertension or diabetes. And what causes hypertension and diabetes? Well, to get an in-depth answer, you can check out our first two shows for Livin La Vida Keto podcast, episode 1 and 2, which are available on demand right here on the Top Class Radio app. But to give you a brief
Yeah.
answer, hypertension and diabetes or prediabetes is caused by the overconsumption of carbs. It's caused by a condition called hyperinsulinemia.
Yeah.
And basically the way it works is that we're not supposed to have sugar in our blood. When we do have sugar in our blood, our pancreas releases insulin into our bloodstream to get that sugar out. So as people have a diet that's high in processed foods, processed carbs, high in sugar, what happens is that our pancreas has to overwork and produce more and more insulin to get that sugar out. So these elevated levels of insulin are what cause diabetes and hypertension. That can be combated with a low carb diet.
Yeah.
Okay? Low carb diets have been proven to drastically reduce the symptoms of or completely reverse the symptoms of hypertension and diabetes. Okay? So if you get that in control, then you're not going to be at risk of chronic kidney disease unless you perhaps have some polycystic hereditary precondition to it.
So what would be the dietary ones, that the meals or foods and vegetables and fruits that will kind of like help and reverse?
You want to follow a low carb, ketogenic, or even carnivore diet. You want to reduce your carbs and sugar intake. This is going to reduce your blood sugar levels from increasing, and it's going to minimize the amount of insulin that your pancreas has to produce. So a low carb ketogenic diet is going to reduce, prevent, reverse your type 2 diabetes or your pre-diabetes, and I want to make the distinction between type 2 and type 1. When you have type 1, your pancreas unfortunately can't produce any insulin. And so you probably will have to be on some type of either medication or just insulin for the rest of your life. But the predominant version of diabetes is type 2 diabetes, and this is caused by our diet. It's caused by over-consuming carbs and sugar, okay? So if you adopt the ketogenic carnivore or ketovore diet that's low on carbs, low on starchy foods, low on processed chemical-laden
Especially
foods,
those.
right?
Yeah.
And it's high in healthy fats, then you can reverse and there's many documented cases of people that have been stage 4 chronic kidney disease and reverse it to 3, people that have been 3 and reverse it to 2, people that have been 2 and reverse it to 1. So we definitely recommend that you work in together with your doctor, your learned health professional, to kind of find out where you are in your journey. Again, we should have mentioned this at the beginning, but we're not doctors. Okay?
Get a balance, get a healthier diet,
And we're not here to give medical advice, or but what we want to do is create a dialogue amongst people, about their own health. Because listen, if you have a car and you take it to your mechanic and you know nothing about cars, you're at the will and mercy of your mechanic. Okay? Doctors are highly educated, but they're not necessarily smarter than you. All right? And we live in an information technology, an information world where we didn't have these resources before. Now we're able to research things very specifically, and we're able to find these studies
and
ourselves.
Challenge it too, because if one information is not the same as the other, so you have to kind of like challenge it. I feel.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. The way things used to work is that you would have these medical journals that are published every year, and they're usually accessible to people in the healthcare professions, but not accessible to just regular folks. We live in a completely different time. All right. If there's something with health that you're concerned with, you can research it. You can download studies, and you can read on it yourself and bring these studies into your doctor. Okay? Because you should be working in partnership with your doctor.
And if they say something that's very uncomfortable to you, you ask.
Absolutely.
You challenge them.
Ask as many questions. And listen, we're not trying to promote a combative relationship with your doctor, but we want you to understand that you and your doctor should be at an equal level, okay? Because you have to have your own awareness of your own health and what contributes to it.
Well, then again, those are your benefits, so.
Okay? And if, I know people who are, and we're almost wrapping up, but I know people who have been diagnosed with different things. For example, we have a couple of clients that have been, we have one client who's on our meal plan program, and he was diagnosed recently with diabetes. The doctor wanted to put him on meds. Fortunately, he knows enough about health and medicine to know that he doesn't want to be on meds, okay? And so he said to his doctor, hey, I'm going to try keto. I'm going to try this for a while. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll have that conversation again. But you have to understand that your health is in your own hands, okay? Your doctor should be working with you as a partner in your health journey and not simply as a dictator who's telling you what to do. But if you don't, take it upon yourself to do your own research on stuff, then you might wind up relying on that other person.
Yeah, and we're not saying that keto is,
the one and
only way,
but
it will help.
But absolutely, it can help reverse and prevent these conditions and help keep you off of meds or reduce your meds.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us
Absolutely,
this week on Livin La Vida Keto. There's so much on this topic, we can't cover all in just 1 hour. But we will be back next week with another hot topic for you guys to discuss.
Come back, listen, and I'll call in and text your questions. Even after the show, you could text, on our page.
That's right. The number is 609-418-9816. We'll see you next Monday. Have a beautiful week. Peace.
Thank you.